Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how I transformed this painted monstrosity into a functioning Singer sewing table that I'm going to use for my own crafts. So follow along and we'll have a journey together. It took me 2 years to do this. So I'm really happy when I go to an auction and I end up finding a real find, a real treasure. This sewing table just kind of no one wanted because it's so rusted and it's so beaten up, and I was really just okay, it's missing a few things, but I was entirely happy that I was able to snag it. I mean, the legs are wrought iron. It's got the original Singer emblem and the word Singer on it. It's got these wonderful wooden decals on the drawers. The little bobbin drawer here works perfectly. It's missing its treadle, but you know, it's a really well functioning table. I'm incredibly happy with my find, and it's going to take me a while to get this done. The entire thing is painted, so I'm going to have to strip all of the paint off. I'm going to start with the legs, and then you'll see that it takes me a few weeks, and then I just kind of get bored with it. So I end up leaving the legs for about a year and just focus on the drawers for about a year. I generally do these things on the weekends, so I don't really have a lot of time. This isn't my full-time job, so whenever I can snatch some time in the afternoons on the weekends, then I'll do a little bit at a time. And yeah, so this took me quite a while to eventually get this fixed, but yeah, I was very pleased to get it 2 years ago.
Side of the drawers, they've got those beautiful things, which isn't all of them. Oh, how pretty. All right, cool. All right. So we have very well sanded drawers. But as you can see, what I've done, I have lined, or at least stained, the inside of the decals with some Imbuya stain. And what I want to do is actually just put some finish over the decal now that's clear, and then put the stained finish over the rest tomorrow. So I'm going to do all of the decals today. And we've got a cat that wants to get into a cupboard, of course. Okay, honey, here we go. No, let's get you into this side. There you go. Oops, sorry. There you go. There you go, Bum. Yeah. There you go, Lala. Loves the cupboards, she does. Okay. So today is decal, and the fronts, I'm going to do the same. Just some clear Polywax interior Polywax sealer, and that will be the finish for the outside of these doors. For the inside, I'm going to do the Polywax on the edge, and then the inside, I think I'm just going to do wax, and then we'll line the bottoms with perhaps a pleather or something. I'm not sure, I'll have to see what I have on hand, but right now it is decal time. All right.
So the Singer brand in 2026 is celebrating 175 years of leading the industry in sewing machine innovation and manufacturing. In 1851, Isaac Singer patented his first practical sewing machine, marking the official beginning of Singer as a company and its leadership in the industry. 7 years later, in 1858, the Singer brand introduces the first lightweight domestic machine called the Grasshopper, and led the field again in 1889 by introducing the first practical electric sewing machine. Electricity usage was not widespread in the 1890s, however. It was an era of early adoption, primarily limited to wealthy urban households, premium commercial buildings, and major industrial or mining operations. So the use of a sewing machine that was human-powered instead of electric was the norm at that time. And the treadle table, with the sewing machine built in, obtains powers from the user's legs. Once electricity became more accessible in more middle-class households, the electric sewing machine would become more popular. The treadle table that I got from the auction, however, had already had its machine and tabletop replaced with a simple wooden tabletop, and the treadle foot plate is missing. It still functions beautifully as a sewing table for today's machines, however, as I don't need to power my machine with my own leg power. All right, and we're back to the legs. It only took me a year and a half to finally get here, and boy, it took a while to then finish them. There was paint to be stripped, there was rust to be converted, and there was elbow grease to be used to get rid of all of the above. It took me a while to get into all of those little nooks and crannies to try and get all of the paint and the rust removed, and to finally be able to paint the legs and be happy that they won't end up rusting even more. I think what made it different this round versus last year or the year before was because I actually bought a new tin of paint stripper, and that seemed to make a huge amount of difference. Just amazing how, if you're using something that's expired and it doesn't work as well, and then you buy a new one and you kind of realize, oh, that's why it was not working. So, yeah, where you can use new unexpired products, it's much, much easier and faster. All right, I'm going to stop chatting now and let you enjoy the rest of the finishing process, the stripping, the converting, and the painting. And I'll see you at the reveal. See you in a bit.
So very interestingly, paint underneath is coming through in like cracks. So I guess now that's gonna be the pattern. This was so intentional, sure. Of course that's, what I meant to happen. It's very interesting. Looks cool though, I like it. I'm not mad at it. It's just very interesting. Sure, why not? Very interesting. Oh well, okay, we'll just let that dry then. Alright, so finally I have a place for my sewing machine. I've been able to unpack my sewing box and put all of the things into the drawers. I've got my measuring tapes and buttons and oh, I've got an empty drawer. Singer box can go in there. And I've got all my embroidery stuff in there. Yeah. And it's in the place that I want it because now I have a table on this side that the fabric can rest on while I'm sewing it. So I'm very, very pleased. Now I can finally sew all of the material that I've been hoarding for years. Years and years and years. I'm very excited. Very excited to start.